What if the only thing standing between you and your six-figure dream business isn't your skills, but the way you think? Tony Robbins says success is 80% psychology and only 20% skills. And after building my own six-figure business at 26 selling digital products on Etsy, I can tell you he has a point. Today, I'm sharing the 10 mindset shifts that made it possible for me to go from a draining 9-to-5 to the creative dream life I get to live today. Our business therapy is officially in session. Just kidding. Kind of. Okay, let's start with a big one. Imposter syndrome. Honestly, I thought it would magically disappear once I started making money, like once I hit my first $1,000 a month or even when I crossed $100,000 in sales. I thought I'd finally feel like a real business owner. But no. Even now with a six-figure business, I still get those little voices in my head like, who am I to be doing this? Or what if people realize I have no idea what I'm doing? The truth is, imposter syndrome never fully goes away, and I think that's something people don't talk about enough. The shift is realizing it's not about eliminating those feelings, it's about moving forward with them. Every time I launched a new product, uploaded a new video, or tried something new in my business, imposter syndrome was sitting right there with me. At this point, she's basically my clingy bestie who refuses to leave. But here's the key. You can still keep going even when you feel unqualified or inexperienced. Even people at 6 or 7 figures still deal with it. The difference is they don't let it hold them back, and neither should you. The only way that voice gets quieter is when you show up anyway. Action builds confidence, and the more you act, the less power that voice has. The next shift is learning that failing fast is actually part of winning. When I first started, I thought every product had to be a hit. So when something didn't sell, I'd feel like I wasted my time or like I just wasn't cut out for this. But what I learned is that every failure was just data. It told me what people wanted and just as importantly, what they didn't want. Some of my products completely flopped, like 0 sales. Others took off in ways I didn't expect. But I would have never found the winners if I didn't put the failures out there first. The faster you test, the faster you learn, and the faster you get to the thing that actually works. So instead of being scared of failing, I started looking at it as research. Fail fast, learn fast, adjust fast. That's how you win. The next shift is realizing that clarity comes from action, not from overthinking. When I was starting out, I wasted so much time trying to plan the perfect product or the perfect business strategy. I'd sit there brainstorming and second-guessing myself instead of just putting something out there. But the truth is, you don't think your way into clarity. You act your way into it. Every time I launch a product, even if it wasn't perfect, I learned something. The action gave me feedback. The market told me what worked and what didn't, and that gave me more clarity than any amount of planning could. It's the same with my YouTube channel. If you scroll back to my first few videos, they're not perfect. The editing, the delivery, even the topics. Heck, I started with travel vlogs. But if I hadn't just uploaded those, I wouldn't have figured out what kind of content connects with you guys today. So here's the shift. You can't plan your way into the perfect business. No matter how amazing your plan looks on paper, you'll never really know if it works until you put it into motion. The clarity you're looking for comes after the action, not before it. The next shift is realizing that success isn't built on one big breakthrough moment. It's built on small, boring steps that compound over time. I think a lot of people picture entrepreneurs having this one genius idea that changes everything overnight. But for me, it looked more like sitting at my desk, uploading listing after listing, tweaking descriptions, creating new designs, and repeating that process over and over again. Honestly, it wasn't glamorous. Half the time it felt repetitive and kind of boring. But those tiny actions are what added up to 6 figures. It wasn't one viral product that made my business. It was dozens of little experiments that compounded over time. So the shift here is to stop waiting for that one big moment and start focusing on the small, consistent actions. Do not underestimate boring consistency because when you zoom out, those small, consistent steps are what build the dream business. Speaking of consistency with creating new designs, if you're in the digital product business like me, One design tool I cannot recommend enough is KITTL, and they just released a feature called KITTL Flows that makes designing products so much faster. Honestly, I wish this existed when I was just starting my business. It would have saved me so much time. But now that it does, I truly recommend it to anyone in this field because instead of spending hours creating every design from scratch, you can take one idea and instantly generate multiple variations. I am honestly amazed at what it can do. Let me show you. So these are a set of cocktail prints I personally designed. Now, I could just sell them as they are, but why stop there? With the KITTL Flows, I can easily create multiple variations of this same design, which means more options for my customers. Let's say I want a glossy 3D version or maybe even turn the drinks into fun little characters with smiling faces. All I have to do is click my design, add a smartboard, and type in exactly what I want. A few seconds later, a brand new variation is ready. Now I can repeat this process across all my other designs in just a few clicks. And seriously, how cute are these little faces on the drinks? I might actually print these out as wall art for myself. This is such a game changer because instead of spending hours creating new designs from scratch, KITTL Flows acts like a design assistant, helping me create tons of variations based on my original ideas in a fraction of the time. And if you're in the digital product business, this can make your workflow so much faster and give you way more options to offer your customers. The best part, you can try KITTL Flows for free, and if you end up loving it like I do, use my code YaleYT for 25% off any plan. I'll leave the link in the description box. The next shift is realizing that discipline matters more than motivation. Whenever you come up with a new business idea, it's totally normal to feel hyped and excited about building it. I know this because I've tried so many businesses, and every time I was super motivated at the beginning. You're excited about the possibilities, right? But let's be real, motivation comes and goes. And it disappears even faster when you don't see results right away. What actually made the difference for me was discipline. Building routines and habits that kept me moving forward even when I didn't feel like it. For me, that looked like setting specific days to design products, batch content, and upload listings, whether I was excited or not. The truth is, you don't need to feel motivated to take action. Most of the progress in my business came from showing up on the boring days, not the exciting ones. Discipline is what builds consistency, and consistency is what builds results. The next shift is understanding that discomfort means you're growing. You know, in the beginning, I used to see discomfort as a bad sign, like if I felt nervous or awkward or out of my depth, maybe I wasn't ready. But over time, I realized that every big step in my business came with some level of discomfort. Hitting publish on my first Etsy listing, uncomfortable. Uploading my first YouTube video, super uncomfortable. Even raising my prices or launching something new, all of it felt scary. But looking back, those were the exact moments that pushed me to the next level. So if something feels uncomfortable, it doesn't mean you're doing it wrong. It usually means you're stretching yourself into new territory. Growth is never comfortable, and if you're feeling it, it's actually a sign you're on the right track. The next shift is learning to detach your self-worth from your sales. You know, in the beginning, I tied my value to how much money I made. Like if I had a good sales day, I felt amazing, and if I had a slow day, I felt like a failure. And honestly, that emotional roller coaster is exhausting. The truth is, your business numbers don't define you. A slow sales week doesn't mean you're not talented, creative, or worthy. It just means business is doing what business does. It goes up and it goes down. When you separate your identity from your results, you can think more clearly, you can make smarter decisions, and most importantly, you can keep showing up. That shift is exactly what allowed me to keep building through slow sales, and ultimately, it's how I grew a six-figure business. The next shift is realizing that action matters more than knowledge. You know, when I first started, I thought I had to learn everything before I could even begin. I binge watch YouTube videos, read blog posts, listen to podcasts, take notes, but I wasn't actually doing anything. And honestly, that kept me stuck. Because the truth is, you can read every business book and watch every tutorial, but none of it matters if you don't take action. Action is what turns knowledge into results. Most of what I've learned about running a six-figure business didn't come from research. It came from trying things, failing, and figuring it out along the way. So if you're sitting on the sidelines waiting until you know enough, here's your reminder. You'll never feel fully ready. You learn faster by doing than by overthinking. Knowledge is power, but only if you use it. The next shift is realizing that you don't need permission to start. When I was first thinking about starting my Etsy shop and even my YouTube channel, I kept waiting for some kind of green light, like someone more successful telling me I was ready or for me to feel 100% confident. Spoiler, that never happened. The truth is, no one's going to come knock on your door and tell you, hey, it's time to start your business. You have to give yourself permission. I started all my businesses with no business degree and honestly, no idea what I was doing. But if I waited until I felt perfectly qualified, I'd still be waiting today. So here's the shift. Stop waiting for permission. Stop waiting for the perfect timing or validation or someone to say you're good enough. You don't need it. Remember this, no one feels ready when they start, but the ones who win are the ones who start anyway. Before I built my business, I used to read so many self-help books and listen to tons of podcasts. I probably heard and read dozens. And you know what I realized? Almost all of them pointed back to the same thing, your mindset. And honestly, I used to think that was some wishy-washy woo-woo stuff, but I 100% believe it now. The way you think affects the way you act, and the way you act creates your results. For example, if you believe exercising is good for your body and will prolong your life, you'll do it every day. If you believe a certain food ingredient is dangerous, you'll do everything you can to avoid it. Do you see that effect? You naturally act in alignment with what you believe. And it works the same in business. If you believe you don't have what it takes, your actions will follow. You'll probably give up after a few tries or maybe not even start at all. What ultimately helped me build my six-figure business was shifting my mindset from why me to why not me. That one shift literally changed the direction of my life. You know, your business will never outgrow your mindset. If you think small, you'll act small. But if you think bigger and truly believe it's possible for you, your actions will follow. It always starts with your mindset and with you believing in yourself. So those are the 10 mindset shifts that completely changed how I built my six-figure business. If there's one thing I want you to take away, it's that your mindset will always shape your reality. And if you're in the digital product space like me, tools can make sticking to these shifts so much easier. That's why I genuinely recommend KITTL and their new flows feature. It's like having a design assistant that helps you create product variations in seconds. You can try it out for free, and if you love it like I do, don't forget to use my code YALEYT for 25% off any plan. The link is in the description box. And if you want to start your own digital product business, I'm also giving away 10 free templates you can actually resell. It's the perfect way to get started without overthinking what to sell. Links down below as well. Thank you so much for coming to my TED Talk today. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. It really, really helps my channel. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye!